Welcome to the Port Charles Update with your hosts, Mish and Mel.
Hi, you there?
I am there speaking from London, Ontario on this beautiful sunshiny day. Hello.
Hi. So I purposely didn't say hello and you didn't say happy Friday, even though I'm kind of
Right?
doing it now. So
We
look
did
how creative we are. We're so creative. Are you ready? I kind of want to just get into it. I really want to talk about New Nina and what you think.
I love when we call our characters like New Nina and then it like sticks for a while like New Val, but now she's officially Val. So yes, New
Oh,
Nina.
it's true. Yes, yes. It speaks to our adjustment period.
It's true. I did need an adjustment because I thought about you when her first scene started because I didn't check to see when the date was gonna be. So I'm like for like half a second, like a nanosecond, I'm like, what is going on right now? Where's my voiceover? Where's Michelle? What is happening? Okay, it's Nina. Got it.
Yeah,
Let's keep
yeah,
rolling.
you're right. I am a little annoyed that they because it's like a classic soap thing to just do
Right?
the voiceover. But to be honest, like I don't really find that she missed a beat, this Nina. Like I know it sounds weird, and it's not that I think she's doing like an imitation of the other one, but like this is based on her first appearance earlier this week and on today's episode when she was talking to Jax. To be honest, like she has a decent pace. I find she's kind of like tapping into that quirky element, like this, I guess, the dramatic essence of who Nina was. So I
Yes.
don't know, like if you close your eyes and don't look at her, not that there's anything bad there to look at, I
Yes.
just find that like the pace, the way she talks, like it's all quite familiar and she's just natural. I mean, she's an experienced actress. I just found it wasn't awkward. It took you a minute, obviously. Like her first scene is with Curtis, and they obviously already have like a good relationship and a good dynamic. And I found that wasn't lost. So I was kind of like, oh, there she is. I'm over it. Moving on. I don't know about you.
Well, same. I didn't have a major adjustment period. I don't know if they did purposefully or not. So, yes, the experience I think lends to the fact that she adjusted really quickly. She definitely picks up on some of Nina's mannerisms, which I quite enjoyed. And it wasn't weird, it fit her character. And there was chemistry with all of the men and the people that she dealt with.
Oh,
So, I found that
that's
really
true.
interesting because, like, sometimes if you put a person into a new role and maybe they did reads before, or maybe that was part of the process, but it just like meshed together beautifully.
They did reads. They're so funny. It's like I know that's from podcast listening. If you're
Yeah.
listening to that's also a podcast.
Totally.
But no, you're right though, because I mean, I was just talking about like her intro with Curtis, but you're right. She does have like the chemistry isn't lost with the people she interacts with so far. I just have to say, like, Curtis is really lucky. Like, he has two very rich friends who've
Right?
offered to pay his medical bills. Cause like, I mean, they're worried. Like Jordan's worried and he's worried and they're really trying to figure things out. But like I could kind of understand the reluctance to kind of take money from your rich friends. It might make things awkward.
I
But why don't just
guess.
take the money from the rich friend who actually hit your wife? Because I'd feel way less awkward about that. And I get it. They won't stop reiterating it's not your fault. We're not mad at you. And that's fine. It's not your fault. I am not mad at you, but I'm also not going to say no to your money in this situation so we can like get on with our lives. But there was a second option, option B, that Curtis didn't take. And honestly, I'm just a little disappointed. I mean, fine, he didn't want the handout, but Drew did offer him a job.
I know, and this is where I'm at a loss
Oh,
a
I
little
don't
bit
want to work
because,
with my best friend. That's going to
right?
suck.
Like,
I'd
one,
rather
I'm
work
like,
with his ex wife.
I need to expand my friend circle. That was one thing I noticed because I don't have any of these rich friends to bail me out. So that's
I
one.
know. I know.
Second, I'm like, exactly that. I understand like being a man, and Curtis is definitely like his character is a man's man and he wants to stand on his own 2 feet and manage his finances. I
Oh,
totally get
But
that.
Jordan had a logical response to Drew and the money
Yes.
taken as a bribe. But I don't know if
and
that
and I
applies
get
to
that.
Nina.
Well, that exactly. So it doesn't apply to Nina, but the fact that Drew had, he had a response right away, like, well, why don't you come and work with me? Same with him. He's your best friend. You have fun together.
And it's not
Everything
an
is close. There's no
office job.
commute, right? I don't get it.
Anyways, well, I'm just disappointed because of what he chose to do. So
I
he
know.
decides to, like, basically he doesn't answer Drew really, other than just expressing he's not all that interested. And then he meets with Valentine. And I'm just like, you're friends with Nina. You already did this. You already did the whole like secret investigation. Clearly, she wasn't mad at him for that investigation. But this one, he
But
warns Valentine that, she'll be mad. Like, she can handle her own stuff. So I'm kind of
exactly.
annoyed that he took this job.
I don't understand the logic. It's like Curtis is a little bit lost right now. Let it be that Jordan is in the hospital, even though she's recovering. It's like he's finally catching up with his emotions, like he was in go mode, and now
That's
everything
true.
is settled, and he's like a little bit lost and not making the appropriate decisions for the situations.
Yeah, I completely agree, because even his tact with trying to kind of fulfill his obligation to Valentine, the way he even approached Jax, I'm like, what? Like, you're usually like really suave and smooth, and the way that he approached Curtis today to kind of investigate him, it was so sloppy. Like, your cover is,
Yeah.
I'm debating working for you, tell me all your secrets. I'm like, you're a private investigator. Why would you need to go up to the person and ask them for their secrets? Don't you do that privately, like in a non-obvious kind of a way? So yeah, I'm actually not terribly sure about his judgment. And I have joked about this, like Sam and her dad working together, but
Yes, he's
I
laying the
think,
groundwork right now.
yeah, and I think it might be better, because when she worked with Spinelli, I feel like they like shared cases, and she teamed up with Curtis, and you'd assume that they would be like more of a bond, or more like of a relationship there built around Sam and Curtis, but there just wasn't. They're off doing their own thing. When the whole
True.
DOD thing started, she never trusted to let Curtis in.
Hmm. Good point.
And so I'm just sort of like, I don't know. They should just not be working under like the guise of like McCall Ashford, or Ashford McCall. And if she worked with her dad, clearly I mean, she's still trying to act like a little teenager, like, I hate you, dad. But the point is, they kind of don't really need to keep secrets. Like, they're more on the same side, and they can actually work on cases together. So that's my take on that whole thing. But okay, so let me ask you this. Valentine approached Jax earlier in the week.
I don't know what to think of that conversation. It was so
It was the most
weird.
pathetic thing I've ever seen in my life. Like, it was like the most pathetic he's ever looked.
Yes, okay, that is why. Because Valentine, to me, even though I know he's a bad guy, he has this charm and strength and confidence and charisma. And then he was like, please, please, can I buy? Please. Like,
Leave
just
my
like, I
wife
don't
alone. She might
understand.
love you more because you're so pretty. Yeah, I
I'm sorry, I
didn't.
can't do his accent, so that it
I
just
don't
came out
even
that
know
way.
what that was. It wasn't a Valentine accent. That was me
I
mocking him.
know.
But
I
it went
know.
to so many different tones and different sounds. I don't
Oh
even know.
gosh.
But yeah, I thought that was so pathetic. And all I kept thinking was, okay, so if this was a man and you found out that like the girl you were engaged to was going behind your back doing crazy things to like up your wedding date, or to make sure you got married, wouldn't that be like a red flag? Like, I just feel like most men would be like, this is a little much. Like, why are you doing all of this? But Nina, for some reason, is all like, what are you doing? Why? Like, she was all like hugging him and kind of like
I
consoling
know.
him, and just being like, that it has nothing to do with you. It's just, I want to be able to like focus. Why do you have to explain that? Like, the fact that she, like, forget the fact that he like murdered Nicholas and all these other things that he's done, and swapped her daughter or found a daughter, who knows? But like, that annoys me. It doesn't bug you that he won't lay off of your work.
I know, right? Without like we said, it's like he floats around and we don't know exactly what he does all day, but apparently he has like a business and he does stuff. And he keeps interjecting himself into her career, into her life, and making it feel small.
Yeah, that's exactly what he's doing. But for some reason, she's all like
Ugh,
in love with it. And I don't
so
know if
weird.
it was him, because do you remember, like, maybe it was this week when they were talking, and then he proposed the idea that maybe she should quit.
I think it was this week after the conversation she had with Jax.
Yeah. So he proposes that, and then today I was just like, what is happening? They appeared like they were having a pleasant conversation, Jax and Nina, just going over details, and then like she just started kind of pushing again to get what she wants out of the situation, which is her complete autonomy, even though Jax is kind of explained like, you're doing great. It's just I'm here to make a couple tweaks to take you to the next level. He's not majorly changing much, but he's there to kind of assist her so that she can maximize all her
Or
resources, basically.
potential, exactly. He's there to lift her up, and by no means did I ever feel watching their scenes together that he was trying to push her out. He was trying to just
Exactly.
elevate the magazine and maximize what he wants to make and create a successful company.
That is literally the vibe that I get. Like
So
nothing too much, nothing compared to what Valentine is doing. Like
no.
babying her. Like I don't feel like Jax is babying her. But then she kind of took the conversation in a direction it really didn't need to go into, and one in which I was like, I don't even see why that was even called for, where she brings up leaving the company. I'm sorry, you don't bring up quitting unless you're actually ready to do that, because it makes you look so stupid. She got all huffy and puffy, even though there was nothing really all that tense. Like even during that conversation, he entertained her, he listened to her, and it didn't go tense. She sort of made it that way. So I was like, what are you doing? That's
Well,
classic Nina. Whoever's like, it doesn't really matter who's playing her. I think, I don't know, she just created some drama for nothing, and it looks a little bit like Valentine got into her head, and it was a crappy strategy, I think.
well, I see it that way, and I also see it that Nina is dramatic, her character, and she also does like to stomp her feet. And one thing Valentine always does, like I said, is kind of baby her. Like you really brought up a good point that he does baby her. So was she waiting to see if Jax was going to react that way? Is she just, without knowing, testing the boundaries of how he's going to treat and react to her in certain ways because she has feelings for him, and like it or not, this is how she reacts when she likes somebody?
Ooh, maybe. And you know what's really funny? Because, okay, first of all, Jax today even said to her, are you that used to getting your own way that you're willing to
Oh, yeah.
walk away when being confronted? So he
Tired
says
brain
that to
got it.
her, and then she ended up talking with Valentine earlier this week saying, I don't need you here to baby me like my parents did, kind of like bailing you out all the time. And it's
Yeah,
really
that's
about them.
true.
So she sort of had this conversation with Valentine, and she expressed that she liked that Jax challenges her. So yeah, it's very possible maybe she like if she is testing him, she could be acting awkward because she likes him, or is she actually testing? Is he going to baby me like everybody else? But to be honest, I don't really think so. I kind of just think her childishness got the best of her. I'm really not going to give her all that much credit for this one.
Okay.
So last week we were worried, but maybe there was nothing to really be all that worried about. Joss just had some friends over and tried to contact the dead.
And look how that turned out. Like I'm not saying that to be. It sounded so weird. I don't know what my tone was supposed to be there. But I love the fact to see Cameron and Trina for them to be like reunited, and the fact that Cam started giggling and it just lightened the whole mood. It just, and that spark they have. Like she hugged Trina, but she hugged Cameron.
I thought maybe this summer was meant to be for them, but
Yeah.
they conjured up a Dev.
They
is,
sure
is
did. A cutie
of what that
patootie
happened.
Dev.
Oh my god. Okay, so it turns out that he actually knew Joss in real life since they were babies.
No. Ooh,
Yeah,
that
so they
okay,
actually
okay. Let's just pause that for a second. Not like really pause, but like pause in the conversation. In her real life, there's so many romances that come out of the cast members of General Hospital, even marriages. And if she's known Dev like personally and she's building a relationship with Cameron personally, it's going to be interesting this summer on screen and potentially off screen.
who knows? Well, they have posted pictures of them three together hanging out, which is really, really sweet. And everybody right now thinks that she is dating Cameron in real life. But yeah, so apparently they're just really familiar with each other. They've both been acting, but I just have to say, like, for a new kid coming on, like, I'm not too familiar with what other things he's done. But I mean, we loved him the first time he appeared, like with
Oh,
Sunny. There was just
yes.
something about him. Like, he's just such a good actor. And there are people that come in, whether they're people who have like a line or two, or actors they try out and then are like, no, like the kid who played Cameron for like a hot minute
Oh,
before this one
yeah.
came in. But I mean, there's just something about him. Like, he's just such a good actor. He's so pleasant to watch. And it's hard to know if it's him or if it's the storyline that I'm attracted to. Maybe it's both, but he's making things interesting. And it's really nice to see Joss, I guess, like Carly pointed out, just really distracted and just
I like
focusing
that
on
they're
something else.
exactly. You took the words right out of my mouth. Just seeing her happier and having a different storyline than just being consumed in everything Oscar.
But I mean, I just don't know what that means for her and Cam. Like, it's clearly not going to be their time, I don't think.
I think Cam is like the long term. Maybe he's like the fall guy, not as in a bad guy, but in the season of fall. And then Dev is like the summer
Oh,
guy.
okay. Well, I don't know. I don't know. Like, it was really hilarious because when you see Dev right away, I was like, well, Joss's summer just got started, basically,
Right?
with him being introduced. And then I love it. Sunny kind of reiterated that, like, they don't know what to do with the kid. Came into the country with a fake passport. And I love how, like Carly said, it's like we're not exactly like a subtle family. Like, people are gonna notice that we have
A
like a
new
teenage
kid.
boy living with us. And so I just love Sunny's like very casual, reluctant, but like smirky little plan of just being like, you're gonna stay for the summer, then we'll find a solution. And part of me is just like, I don't really know what's gonna change at the end of the summer. that
Exactly.
that like the problem's gonna be solved. But like you said, you think Cam might come into the fall, but I don't know. Like, I personally think Dev is really he's a really good actor, and I kind of foresee him maybe staying more than just the summer. So I really don't know.
Ooh.
I really don't know. I love I love Dev. Dev is short for Devon. He's my cousin. And Josh like, you're my cousin? He's like, I do now. I don't know. I thought that whole thing was really hilarious. And I guess I'm wondering how if the whole intention, because like I mean, it's been years since we had that teen foursome, because the last time that happened was
Right.
Elizabeth, Nicholas, Lucky, and Emily. So it's just going to be like this friendly foursome that happens, which I think I'd kind of like to enjoy more than watching Cam and him at each other's throats.
Me too. Cam needs a break from having a competitor for with a woman.
Yeah, I mean, it just sucks because it's like she's not an option. Like I just mean like for the time being, you know what I mean? There's just not, like, she's not in the place for that. So maybe it will be a fun distraction and like a foursome friends thing. But the thing is, I am worried because Dev can kind of handle himself. Cameron is like that brooding type too. So I do wonder if there will be a bit of a conflict between those two.
Hmm. To be continued.
So we've totally forgot, hello, how Dev got this deep into everything. Freaking Joss goes to Lulu's house by herself at night. And I mean, I guess it's not a big deal, but it's just that we knew in the background that Lulu had this sting going on.
When she realized what was happening. But my favorite scene out of all of it was when they're having, I think, like a cup of tea at the end of everything that happened, especially for Lulu to say this. She's like, brave and stupid go hand in hand. And so she's saying to Josh, and Lulu, of all people, should know this because that is like her line of life. And I liked when she said that she was channeling all mothers when she was yelling at her.
Well, I mean, I felt a little two ways about that. I just felt like, seriously, Lulu, you of all people are giving this lecture, because I feel like Mac just gave you this lecture like
Yeah.
5 minutes ago with the floating rib. But then it's like I had a hard time, like, kind of really using that against her in my head, because it's like she is a mom. And to be honest, I know that
Yes.
she has kids on the show, but this is probably the first time I've seen her like be a mom. Like, not being a mom as in acting, but it's the first time I was like, she really I guess exemplified that in that moment where I kind of like really bought it, and I just really sided with her in that moment. Like, I forgot about the Lulu stupidity because of the way that that scene was, and because of like her reaction and the protectiveness toward Joss. So for me, I kind of let it go. I let the
Same.
because like I
Same.
mean, they wouldn't even be in that situation had Lulu not made a poor decision.
Good point.
Basically. Uh, but I kind of like what she did say to Joss, like, aside from the whole parenting thing, when she kind of said to her, like, you're Dante's sister. Like, she kind of said that. And I just love that because
Oh,
it's like,
yeah.
I love that they take their family connections seriously like that. And I love that they framed it that way, because I think it should be framed that way. So for me personally, I just thought that was like really, really sweet. But I have to just go back for a minute. I really, really loved Mac just taking on that commissioner role. I loved him.
Yes.
I loved that he accepted the job. I love that he was offered the job. I love that we're getting a little bit more Mac. And maybe I was even more into it because I just listened to his interview on the That's Awesome podcast.
Okay, I have to catch up.
So I think that's also what made me really excited about it. But I love how he just went into that mode. Like, no, we're going to investigate stuff. Like, you have to say these things. And what are you doing? And I just love that he took a minute to like give her a little bit of hell, because it is stupid. Like, you have two kids and yeah, they might be babysitting, but look at what happened. Somebody needed to go back to the house. And I just have to say, when Lulu was on that date, I was just like, because they showed the picture and they showed the guy and I was staring at it and I'm like, I have a feeling that's just a guy wearing a cap and not the guy in the picture who has a cap on. And I don't know, there's something suspicious about the fact that the guy in the
Oh
picture
my
is wearing a
goodness.
hat and he's covering his face.
Right?
Like, you can't see his face. like I don't
How
know.
do you know if it's him,
I just
right?
I just think if you're
Oh,
being like, if you're meeting a stranger, especially like the fact that she's trying to suss out some kind of like robber, that maybe you should like safety first and say, hey, are you here to meet somebody? Who are you here to meet? Like, don't give your name right away. I don't know. I just felt like be a little bit more explicit and not just assume that the guy is your date.
yeah, she
But
just
that's
like
like the
jumped
least.
right into it.
Yeah, it's like the least dumb thing she did out of the whole thing. So I'm not gonna like stay on that too much. But yeah, I thought that was really funny. And I'm glad no one got like seriously hurt and the whole thing was really just an intro to Dev. But I don't
Yes.
know. Does anyone care about who actually robbed her place?
I don't think so.
Okay.
And I'm sure Mac will, it'll be a side story. I feel like it's going to hit pause for a little bit and then it'll ramp up and something maybe a little bit more extreme will happen. But let's rewind a little bit further to a scene that reminded me of you and your hubby and made me giggle. So the
What?
Maxie Peter scene
Mm-hmm.
when she gets really upset with him about the pie versus cake situation.
What reminds you of us?
I'm like, literally, you can put like you and your husband, and then it would have been like, I don't get it. What? Like, it made me laugh so hard because it was just one of those cute, kind of bantery. Like, he didn't understand what was going on, but she obviously had something going on in her head as to why she was feeling this way and kind of like picking at it and making it into a fight. And it just really
Okay,
made me
so now
laugh.
we're letting everybody know that I'm insane. And yeah, story of my life. He really doesn't know what's happening most of the time. Probably why he's so happy, because he doesn't know what's going on most of the time. But I think it was so sweet that Peter figured it out. And
I
okay, I don't know if
know.
you've noticed this, but Finn is really shining. And it's like he's a great actor, but I mean,
Yes.
Finn, the character, is making such strides and trying to really put himself in Anna's life. Like, even earlier, it was sweet, like how he was when he was talking to Jordan and saying, well, Curtis is my friend, and like
Yeah.
Anna is your friend. And when Jordan was indirectly thanking him for stealing the kidney for her, and then later the fact that he was sort of used as the person to get Peter, which he did so poorly. It was
Oh my god, I
hilarious.
loved it. He's so cute. Like I can't even take it the way he delivers his lines. And he's like, what did he say? We need to go to somewhere more divey.
Divey, and Mac was just like, excuse me.
I own that place or something.
Oh my, I thought that whole thing was really funny, but it's like, yeah, I just thought it was cool because like he had a couple scenes. He really seems to be cementing his friendships. Not only did he kind of even, participate in the conversation regarding like everyone ganging up on Lulu, which was entertaining. So which they care for her, and I think that it was right for them to do that. I mean, she doesn't have, like, her mom wasn't there. Like, I don't even think her mom knows about the story that she's doing. But
I
like, I
know.
just love that Finn was there, and he even had another big moment when he was the one who got to give Kevin the news that he was going to be reinstated at the hospital, and he even took the time there to extend his like friendship to him further and be like, I know what it's like to be on the outs and like come back in. So I was just like, whoa, this is such a different Finn. Making friends left and
Absolutely.
right. What are you doing? Like, you opt to not talk to people if you don't have to. It was crazy to me.
Exactly. Totally stepping out of his comfort zone and
Yeah.
reaching out. You know what I mean? Like he's really. I loved all of his interactions this week, and he really kind of cemented some more friendships, and I can't wait to see, because we know there's a reason, and we know something big's going to happen when, oh my gosh, what is her name? Is going to come back.
Oh,
And it's going to
Hayden.
rock. Hayden's going to come back, and it's going to rock the boat. But at least he'll have people to turn to when that happens.
Yeah. Hayden is also really good friends with Curtis as well. So that would just be really interesting when she does come back. So when they were all hanging out together, there was just one line when it comes to Lulu, which I thought was really funny. So like Maxie, I don't know, like obviously Maxie's on a crusade to get Dante back, and clearly something is going to happen regarding Dante because they wouldn't stop mentioning him, not to mention Dev return too. But I loved the example Maxie used to express her concern for Lulu to everyone else. She's like, because she's using herself as bait. That's why she needs Dante. And I'm like, I'm sorry, that's Lulu's style. Like what she's doing right now, with or without Dante, she does things like this, and this is what causes problems for them, because she makes like unilateral decisions that like have like usually a huge consequence for like the people closest to her. So I just thought that was hilarious to me, that was sort of like her point of concern. In that same scene at the floating rib, Robert comes in all dejected for being fired. And I'm just like, is it Maxie's dad in charge of the WSB that fired Robert?
Oh.
Because her dad's boss.
Right?
Like, I'm like, so that didn't come up. But do you think he's really fired?
I don't think so at all.
Because I'm like, what is that about? And then he goes in the back and starts saying that people are asking for Dante. Who? Maxie?
I don't, watch out. She'll talk you to death.
Like, I was just like, who is looking for Dante? I mean, besides his family, like most of his family are respectful of where he is and typically just want to know like how he's doing. But it sounds like something shady is going on.
Absolutely. It's a ruse.
And he's part of it.
Undercover. He's getting information for something, and we're going to find out what it is. But yeah, I do not buy him being let go for a second.
That Robert is undercover, right? Not Dante.
Yes, Robert. No, Robert's undercover.
But I don't know. Like, that would be, like, obviously there's something going on, but it would just be really crazy if something not good is happening with Dante and he was just sort of participating in all of that.
I know that. I don't know how that's going to play out, because he's like, supposed to be the good guy, you know?
Yeah, he is supposed to be the good guy. And when he said he was out, I was like, oh, well, this is a perfect time for Maxie to get the information she wanted. But that did not happen. So, yeah.
Bust.
Didn't happen at all. And so, okay, another thing about Maxie and Lulu, did you notice that? Because, like, you know how much I love when, like, people have scenes with people that they don't normally do? And I just love that they're taking advantage of certain connections. So, like, last week, Joss had a scene with Maxie, and then this week she had a scene with Lulu. I don't know. I just thought that was kind of...
Oh, yeah, that is lovely. I like that they make the women bond together.
And it just like kind of, you know, integrate like that.
Also, that Joss is going through something huge, and kind of like when Christina was going through her bit, is that they do have a lot of family, and they do have a lot of love and support, and everybody in that town that's behind them. So they're just kind of showing it.
Everyone in that town is related somehow.
I know.
Somehow directly or indirectly. But yeah, I just like that people are, you know, coming out of the woodwork, because it's like at the same time, it makes sense for Joss, you know, to expand her circle after Oscar, because that kind of thing, like all these new experiences, is definitely going to help her kind of put one foot in front of the other, I think.
I agree. Joss is putting one foot in front of the other, but clearly, you know, well, obviously you can't blame the girl. Kim is really, really, really struggling. Oh, Kim. I adore her. And like, let me try that again with words. She is doing such an amazing job at, you feel the grief, you feel the heaviness, and you feel the sadness. And when she got there was like a little bit of light in her when she was talking to Julian about having a baby. Yeah. But we all knew that was coming from a cray place. He handled it very well, I found. And I know she was just kind of taken aback. But what I was concerned about was that when she made that phone call to Drew later on in the week, I'm like, is she going to propose the same thing to Drew? Oh, I think she's baby shopping. So Darla 70 said, I think Julian saying no
she's going to turn to Drew. And she pointed this out before the episode aired, where
Ooh,
Kim called. So
a
she was
smarty
really,
pants.
yeah, smarty pants. I definitely wanted to give her a shout out. But yeah, I totally think she's baby daddy shopping. Julian handled it really well, like you said. And I do like what Elizabeth pointed out to her, because it's one thing for it to come from Julian, but it was one thing to have her friend kind of ask her the question, well, why right now? Because
And
she was acting like Julian was horrible to her,
yes.
and he never wants that. He's very much open to having a family with her. So, I obviously it speaks to the fact that she's in a really, really bad place. And I think that's what's really interesting about Kim's story now that Oscar is gone, because of course it's devastating to lose a child. There's a couple of characters on the show who've had to deal with it. And what's unique about her, it's that she was a single mom for most of the time with Oscar, and it was her only child. So she is grieving his loss, but she also, there's the identity factor that comes in, and she talked about it this week. Like she's not mothering anymore. And so that, I can't imagine how difficult that is. And for that, I just think like her story is such an important one to tell, and it's going to be an incredible journey. And I just, and I think she's doing such a good job representing how hard that must be.
Oh my God, very impactful. And I haven't seen it addressed in this way, like you said, because everybody else has lost somebody. It's just been dealt with, I think, on a surface level. I do believe that Elizabeth was the right person to interject into that scene. She's changed a lot, her character. We've seen a lot more of Elizabeth in her family life. And she did, for a long time, think that her son was dead.
And that's real. You know what I mean? Yes, we know
Yeah.
that the character came back, but the point is what she felt for all those years, having to move on with her life, that was very real.
Exactly. So I thought it was perfect that, she brought over the lasagna. She sat and she listened to her. She offered to stay. I like them together as friends, and she can lend a lot to Kim's experience.
Well, that's the thing with Elizabeth. I think for the first time, she has a really good, like, and from the first time, I mean, in a long time, she had her place up many years ago, like with Lucky and Nicholas and Emily. Like, she had her place. And I think that as a character, she thrives with her people. And she has that, with Kim. And I think in the years past, she was always sort of used as an antagonist in the whole Carly,
Yes.
Jason, Sunny world, because she didn't really fit there. So you always had her trying to claw in and trying to fit somewhere that just wasn't going to work. And I just think, yes, she's thriving because she's finally found like her place really and kind of moved on with her life. But yeah, not only do I think she was a perfect person, but I also, what I really loved and noticed about her interaction with Kim is that she was there for her. She gave her space. She supported her, and she did not bring up her own experience. She really left the floor open to Kim.
That's a very good point. I did really like that.
So as usual, they usually have like a simultaneous interaction. So Elizabeth was interacting with Kim, and then Franco was interacting with Drew. And for the first time in a long time, Drew laughed.
That's true. He had a different expression.
He did. Well, I thought it was really cute because he laughed when Franco was all hurt for being the number two friend.
Yes. I love their scenes together. They have really great chemistry.
They really do. And so I don't know. There's a lot of rumors that he might be leaving, but again, they're all just rumors, so we really don't know.
Okay.
But I just found it annoying because they wouldn't stop saying everywhere, breaking news, Billy Miller's leaving. I'm like, that's not breaking news that there's a rumor. Breaking news is the news if he is leaving, which no one has been able to really confirm as of now. But I really hope that they stay. And and I guess maybe it hasn't happened yet, but I was under the impression that like Kim and Drew were taking like a hiatus off the show, but then they returned. So like I actually don't know. And I just feel like I feel like their storylines are just getting started. So part of me is like, I don't see exactly how these two will take a simultaneous leave. Like one thing I am worried like thinking of about Kim is that of course I want her journey to be as true to the experience as possible. But then I started to wonder if Kim continues down this like road where they put her in this space where she just continues to unravel. Maybe she's unable to get pregnant. Who knows? Will she steal Carly's baby? Will she think that baby is Oscar?
Oh no, why did you put that in my brain?
I'm so sorry, but nothing I ever say comes true.
Well, because we talked about like potentially last week Nell stealing Carly's baby. Now we have Kim
Oh, I forgot about
next.
that.
So like, oh, poor Carly Carly and the babies. And, oh, goodness. Okay, so she used to be the Carly, and
Yeah.
Carly was in Ferncliff just for, she unraveled a bit. Maybe she'll just
Yeah.
end up like in Ferncliff without stealing a baby, just to regroup. And maybe she'll
Maybe.
help save the baby that Nell stole, Carly's. Maybe she'll be in a hero role.
I
baby
hope
stealing
so. I
situation.
hope Kim stays. I think it's a really cool thing that she came back as another character and she actually
Yes.
managed to stay on for as long as she did, because they tried this with the other Carly. She came back for a shorter stint as Claudia. So Kim's got her own thing going on. And then Drew, I just feel like, is he finally being looped back in? Are we coming actually full circle back to Shiloh? So Margot is still on her goodbye tour. Like, I thought this girl was done. Like, I thought she was leaving.
But I like her so much now. I'm sad.
Yeah, it kind of sucks that you like her now and she's leaving. But she's having this talk with Drew. And then we have like this little creeper.
I know, that little creepy nurse.
So
is she a Donnie?
That's the thing. So I think most people do feel that way, that's what it is. Oh, someone else had a different term than what you use.
Oh,
Tara _ Rubin said, I am going to say it, a Shiloh hoe, one word. And I'm like, I guess it kind of rolls off the tongue. We'll report to Shiloh where the flash drive is hidden. So a lot of people think that she's definitely working with Drew. So Jen Balkin said, I'm sure she works with Shiloh, don't trust her. And I feel like it's an obvious answer, and I think it was me, like, just more wishful thinking. Like, I'm just like, can it not be Shiloh? Because I was wondering, is it Shiloh? Is it somebody else who's thinking Shiloh is not doing a great job with this whole like Drew mission, and maybe they're sending somebody else in? That was like kind of like my hope a little bit. We have Jennifer Francis 8326 said they need to include Drew in the rest of the story. Exactly, they need to include him. So that's why I'm like, you can't go anywhere. We need to know about the flash drive. Who was Drew or freaking Hank? I'm guessing Hank killed his dad or stole money, but Drew does need to be a part of this. So that's super interesting, because I was wondering if Shiloh was part of Drew's disappearance. And this is sort of an interesting take. Did maybe like Hank kill his own dad or do something or steal money that maybe Drew happens to know about? So yeah, now I'm like, I don't actually know what kind of crappy thing that Shiloh could have done that he's trying to hide. Okay, so I kind of threw out that crazy thing about like him maybe like baby stealing or whatever, but someone else has something to say, also a possibility for Kim. So at Green Bay 531 said, I still think it would be an interesting twist to have Kim as sort of helping in the mind mapping, that she came back to Port Charles to stay close so he won't remember anything. That would be so bad. That would be so bad.
So bad.
So
like,
bad.
I have goosebumps.
I don't want her to be a villain. I really don't want her to be a villain in the whole thing.
No.
And then who else? Okay, so at Chris R. Wood said, I am wondering if they're going to give Drew his memories back forcibly, because Shiloh needs something from him, which would bode well for like Kim, because then Drew would remember how intensely he loved her, because they were apparently had some kind of real crazy intense relationship. According to her, he was the kind of guy who, like, they had an intense romance. He was the kind of guy to like throw punches at a bar. Like, I mean, he sounds more fun than this Drew,
right?
But
like he's got some personality.
So that would be interesting if he got his memories back, I guess, because then it kind of gives him a chance to revamp his character a little bit. I don't know what that would mean for him and his daughter, but
here's the thing: even if it's forced, we still don't know what the actual repercussions of his memories being put back into him are going to be. There is a potential of his memories
potential.
But we don't actually know that, or if it's going to be like a merge of memories that slowly kind of find its way to those two separate kind of thought paths. So we don't actually know.
You're right, because memory mapping is not an exact science.
Exactly. I Googled it. I don't know. I did the best I could. Oh my god, there should totally be like a soap Google. So you can like check how many times they had amnesia, how many times this, like medical science, but soap opera.
Yeah, soap science.
Soap science. Let's do it.
It's very sudsy. Okay, so, and honestly, I just sort of think at this point, that little plant, I feel like it's unanimous about it being like, you know, a Shiloh plant at webs.net also agrees total Shiloh plant at work. So yeah, it's gross. It's
Yeah.
gross. It's gross having like these Donnies just like all over the place. And it's like, really? Because from what I understand, a lot of the Donna Day people are leaving the house. Like there's bad press. So if
Like,
she's
don't they have
still,
social? Like, don't they have social media? Like, don't they know what's going on?
but that's the thing. People do. It is spreading. So if that person is still loyal to Shiloh, it just speaks to the level of crazy.
True, valid point.
You're welcome. Um,
I concede.
okay, so look, we can't go a week, I think, without talking about this character.
Which one?
The kitchen. The kitchen. So,
I freaking love the kitchen scenes this week. Which one
oh
was
my
your favorite?
gosh. Do you realize that now when I take notes of the show, there's literally like just a chunk under Sunny's kitchen. Like everything that
Oh
happens in
my
the kitchen, I
gosh.
have them under like the same umbrella. Okay, so my favorite kitchen moments this week was, I'm sorry, you don't go to Kelly's and not get the pregnant woman freaking bacon and a BLT. Like that was so cruel. Like from what I understand, this poor woman is eating healthy constantly, and then Michael gets her like not a DLT and then a BLT for everyone else. Like I was just like, that is so wrong.
But I
That I
love,
really
like,
felt for her.
I well, you know, I'm a vegan, so I was good.
I know you
But what
didn't
I
feel
did
for
thought,
her.
what I just thought it was so funny, and what was like the cherry on top was when he had one for Jason, who
Yes.
walked in unexpectedly. I literally laughed out loud that I had to quiet down because the kids were sleeping. I'm like, this is the best.
It was really funny. It was so comical. I loved it so much, those scenes together. And then Jason brings up interesting info. And it's a really
Yes.
good thing that, you know how they say people have like a photographic memory,
Yes.
but that Michael has a videographic.
Play and everybody can see.
Because he was able to like replay a couple of conversations he had with Willow, lucky for him, and piece together that that person could have been her daddy. But you know what I thought was really interesting about that conversation about the like mysterious death was that they brought up this connection. Is the person related to Diane? They
Right. I
brought
thought that was
that up.
interesting too, because the last name.
Yeah, they brought it up. They're like, is it just happens to be the same name? And I just was wondering if at some point they plan on taking a deep dive into her life.
I would really love that. And especially knowing that she's backing Willow, she would just, I mean, she is a fierce lawyer to begin with, but knowing that it was a family member, she would just kind of dive full on, full throttle. I don't even know what
That's
expression to
true.
use. Like
That's
guns
true.
blazing.
I didn't even think about that, but she's already funny. Like her coming back this week is just friggin' hilarious. But so okay, another thing. Okay, let me ask you, what did you think about?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So maybe you are thinking what I'm thinking. What were you
Maybe.
thinking?
I'm waiting. I'm waiting. No, I'm gonna wait
This
this time
could
because
be
I
so
always
off.
mess it up.
What did you think about Jason keeping Carly company?
Oh yeah, I wasn't even going there.
Oh
I
my
love
god!
it. There's
Where were you going? Where were you going?
I was going with Willow's moment with Michael when she totally pulled a soap moment. I was like, no, I killed him. And you're
Oh my
like,
god,
no, you
I'm
actually
dying.
didn't. And then it unraveled.
I'm dying because I literally wrote such a soap moment in my notes.
That's why I
And
thought
like
we were on the same vibe.
we are on the same vibe about that, but I want to talk about these two. Did you think anything when
Yes.
you saw them together?
In terms of well, it's the whole banter. All they were missing, and I think that people had commented on what I read, is the pool table. Like, it was the same like jokiness. They were just missing the alcohol and the atmosphere.
Well, the thing that caught me was the fact is just the line that he used, and maybe it means nothing, but it's just the fact that he started off by saying we can't play pool, and it's just that pool used to be like what they did before doing it. It was where they like
Oh, I
got
didn't catch
together.
that part.
So then like when he said that, and I get it. Obviously, after they stopped doing it,
Right.
obviously they play pool, but it is their thing and it's a
Right.
thing from back then. So I just found it funny, just the way that it was brought up and the playfulness and the looks, and it was playful and they are friends, and I love that like they're giving Jason this like personality and more lines and he laughs and it's hilarious. But for me, I was just the fact that he said we can't play pool. I just really flashed to back in the day, and then I just started reading the scene through that lens of those two from back then.
Whoa, okay, like I didn't catch on to that because I do remember when they played pool, but my memory was a little fuzzy. And yeah, looking back at that scene now, thinking about that, we know that Jason's madly in love with Sam. We know that Carly's
Of
madly in love with Sunny,
course.
and that they do, however, Carly and Jason have this very, very different and interesting connection that down the road we don't know what's gonna happen.
They always joke about that. The actors joke about that. If you like listen to their podcast, they're like, when are we gonna get together already? Like, when is that gonna happen? And they said that Sunny's dad, like Maurice Bernard's dad in real life, gets really annoyed when they joke about that, because to him it's like Carly is Sunny's wife. and so when his dad comes to set, they kind of like play it up a little bit and get a little cozy.
Oh my god,
it makes Sunny's real life dad a little angry.
that's hilarious. I forget. I love that little tidbit.
Yeah, so like, okay, yeah, that's exactly what pissed me off was when Willow was all like, she's got a lot going on. You know, I don't blame the girl for being in like drama zone, but when she was telling like Michael, I killed him, and I'm like, there's a total difference between actual murder and just feeling bad about some choices you made regarding your relationship with your dad. There's a freaking difference, and you should know this. You've been talking to your lawyer like nonstop. You have a court date coming up. Like, you don't say stuff like that out loud. Plus, you're dating a cop. Like, I just feel if you were dating a cop, if you're sleeping with a cop, like, I just feel like you should know the law.
Okay, but you know, like that's not how it's translated.
Don't follow up on this conversation, please. don't move forward with anything I just said. Don't run with it. So,
oh, if the people only knew the actual real.
They don't need to know how I learned, Mel. They don't need to know how I learned. Okay.
Oh my god. Okay, yeah, we need
to. So Willow explained herself. So what she did does not constitute stabby or murder. It's not literal.
No.
It was a metaphor. It was a metaphor for I chose DOD over my dad.
And she's living with that guilt.
Which
and
he did kill him. So she's right. In the end, that was the consequence. But yeah, it sucks. And I don't know. Like, hopefully they can prove that Harmony and Shiloh did it, and then they could just both go to jail.
Exactly. I'm hoping that too. I did also like the scene with Willow and Chase this week. I thought it was the sweetest scene. He's so cute. And he was saying something about like he handed her a key and how he's like this
it's
cool
a non-romantic gesture. Yeah.
Yes.
Do you know what I love most about that?
What?
Is that in that moment, like everything you just said, like when he said I'm cool, I'm aloof, I was like, you know, the fact that he knows he's a dork, I love that. Like, I thought that was cute. But what did you think about how he tried to console her in the interrogation room and the sort of lecture he gave her about Wiley's connections?
Okay, so I relate to him, I think, because I know I'm a goof and I say stuff like that too. Second, being in the interrogation room, I like the way he laid it out. I know that he's very factual about what is happening. And even though he stays out of all of that trouble and those connections, he made it very clear to her that this kid is so well protected. Shiloh may be walking, may not be walking, maybe underground. We don't know. But Wiley will always be surrounded by these people who will protect him no matter what. So yes, even though it's scary for her, in terms of who she thinks and the power that Shiloh may seem to have, he has nothing on these people.
But you know what I love the most about his description is that where he started in the whole thread of Wiley. You know who his aunts are. His aunts are Sam McCall and Carly. And I love that he positioned them that way and gave them importance, that, you know, these women would do anything. I do know that he did bring up Sunny and he did bring up Jason, but I just like the fact that I did like the fact that he began introducing that he had that level of protection due to those women in particular. So I really enjoyed that. But then, so then if you think about that scene where he's speaking quite highly of I mean, look, it's the closest you can get to Chase giving the family a compliment, I think, the way he was talking about them. It was in such a positive way. And so if you think of that, and then go to fast forward to the scene where he's talking to Lulu, like with the whole Dev thing. Like he seems so beyond curious. How could he be friends with Sunny? How could Sunny be friends with this like little teenage boy? And so I just was like, what are you doing, man? So like when he was talking to Lulu and goes, now that we're alone, what's going on? And I'm just like, are you joking? Are you pulling a Curtis right now? Tell me the dirt. It's like, is this the best police work you can do? Like, I just felt like, what is Lulu going to tell you? Is she really going to give up information on her father-in-law and her family? Is she really going to put her family in a vulnerable spot to be in legal trouble? Really? Like, did he expect an answer from Lulu? And all I kept thinking was, this guy, it's like, do you just want in? Because it's
Well,
like,
that's
there's like a love-hate thing going on. Like, well,
yes.
maybe ethics and love. I don't know.
Like I felt like it was genuine curiosity for the fact of how they know each other. And we did toy with this idea months and months and months ago that Lulu would end up with Chase and that
Yeah.
Willow would end up with Michael.
Oh yeah, I forgot, but that sounds good.
So, you know, that kind of lays a little bit of something. Like it's just throwing something in Lulu's corner about his
Well, maybe
interest.
it's like, I don't know. Like I just feel like if you're going to be with any woman in Port Charles, you better be ready to kind of like be flexible around the law.
I think that's just in general, like in Port Charles.
It's true. It's totally true. Okay, so to something pretty funny. Okay, we talked about Diane being back and how awesome that is. And I love how she's taken every single opportunity, no matter what they're discussing, no matter how serious it is, to throw Dr. Byrne in Alexis's face, which I thought was freaking hilarious, like, and just making fun of her. And honestly, Alexis is awkward as like
AF.
as F, yeah, exactly. She referring to your therapy
Oh
session as
my
a date.
gosh.
Oh my gosh.
I
That's
cringed
so
under my
embarrassing.
blanket. Like I'm like, why is this happening? I feel
It's
so awkward
so
watching this.
it's so embarrassing. But to be honest, like when Dr. Byrne was with Kevin in the therapy session, I was like, oh, he's gonna say he has the hots for Alexis. But to be frank, like given the topics he was going into, like about being able to relate in his own experience, I have no idea what he's talking about.
Okay, so I wasn't sure if it was just me because I rewound a couple times. I'm like, did I miss something in the week? Did I like get up for a snack? Like I was really kind of thrown off. So I'm glad you said that.
Yeah, so I mean, like, he has to be referring to either Alexis or Christina. I think, it might be related to his daughter a bit because Diane had found that announcement about his daughter's death. So I guess we're going to see like his story kind of unfold a little bit and get to know a little bit more about Dr. Byrne.
Well, it's getting interesting because his backstory's coming out. We know that he's friends with Kevin or has a little bit of a history with Kevin.
Mm-hmm.
We're learning about his family, and I'm just hoping we get to see some more therapy sessions with Kevin.
Oh, yeah, that would be so fun. So,
Right?
yeah, so back to Diane. She's at the courthouse and she's trying to stop
Yes.
Alexis from doing crazy things. And it was funny because I'm like, this is a perfect example of like Alexis's, wishy-washy ethics. Because like she tells
Flexible
Diane,
morals.
yeah, she like tells her like all of a sudden now Alexis is on board about Shiloh being dead. I mean, I don't blame her. He really riled her up
Yes.
and it was super gross in the courthouse, but she should have just listened to Diane and like left, basically. But
No.
yeah, so the court the court is in session and Willow is nowhere to be found.
Oh my gosh.
uh,
Why?
and I hate that they kind of like, I think it was Alexis or Diane that like framed the judge as being like loosey goosey with the law. So I don't know if this is really going to play into Willow's favor. And I don't know. I feel like Shiloh just keeps winning. So I feel like more like hell is going to like break loose basically when it comes to this court case. And Diane looks like she's going up against a shark of a lawyer.
Exactly. Well, he did get that Cayman money, so it's got to be worth it.
Exactly. But I just have to say, like, we had 3 new characters on this week. We have like the actor Dev, we have this new lawyer. And I mean, I know the lawyer is obviously not going to stay on for like as long of a stint as let's say like the new Nina or Dev. But I just have to say, like, the intro of all these characters this week, the acting was just amazing. Like they just come on and they were just like, I find really good. Because you never know. It can always be awkward when somebody pops on, even if it's just for like a couple of episodes. So I just thought that was really really cool. So good job to all those actors.
Agreed.
So,
Kudos.
so, so Nina. Speaking of new Nina, she
Noonie.
picks a fight with Jax. Causes some drama there, and then of course she has to go to the school and look for drama, look for something Willow did wrong, look for like a slight in the kindness award that Charlotte got. just thought that was just annoying. But I didn't know what was going to happen because I noticed that Willow was wearing that necklace, and I saw that while she was giving a speech about like the past year, that Nina kind of looked like her face was softening toward her. But I guess that was not the moment to realize that this was to your daughter, because I forget what the necklace looked like and what we were supposed
What we're
to be
hoping for.
looking for. But one thing that really, really struck me, so clearly that trio, so Elizabeth, Franco, and Lulu, have a big surprise for her, which I obviously is the fact that she's gonna keep her job. They're
Yeah.
making her late for the court date. I can't wait to see Nina's reaction, but more than that, I could not be more annoyed with Nina and Valentine. And I think this only proves Willow right, in the sense that I don't know if they're really like considering Charlotte or paying close attention, because hello, Charlotte was a sweetheart with Aiden. She's telling Miss, like, they had like a joint gift that they wanted to give Miss
So
Tate,
sweet.
and both those kids are like, and I love that we got like an update. We got an update that Aiden is doing better. We got an update that like Charlotte is being kinder, and we got an update that the whole group developed a bond and became more cohesive. And it just, I don't know, it means a lot to hear that everybody was getting along.
Same.
But the fact that your daughter was like, I'm gonna miss you, Miss Tate, you're still gonna be here, right? I'm just like, so you bent over backwards, making this woman's life miserable, and you never once stopped to figure out how Charlotte was being affected by all of this? Like, you can complain all you want, but if your kid is like, they made it seem like, oh, she's being targeted and she's being singled out, but clearly Charlotte was thriving.
Exactly. And they didn't bother to talk. Well, the same way that they didn't talk to her to figure out what was really going on with Eden. They just kind of smoothed it over and spoke over her or spoke at her without her interacting with them. And I think the same thing happened with the fact that they didn't bother to take the time to figure out what's going on.
Yeah. Yeah. So I was just really annoyed by that. And I just can't wait to see next week just Nina's face. She realized that she gets reinstated. And I don't know, maybe I don't know. It's going to be really, really funny, I think.
I think so too. I can't wait.
So I think that's about it for me.
Same here. Have a great weekend.
You too. Bye.
Thanks. Bye.